Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank the ranking member. Thank our witnesses. We're here for an important purpose, and Mr. Chairman, I don't appreciate the allegations made by the full committee's ranking member. I took them quite personally and don't think it's in keeping with the House decorum. And I've only been in Congress 6 months, but I bring 35 years of hiring people and working in both the federal government, in the Treasury, and in the executive branch, and then in the private sector. And we're here to deal with this matter today, and it's an important matter. And another thing that's been suggested is that our witnesses today have come here first or exclusively and have thrown their pleas on the House Committee on Financial Services to the exclusion of other remedies. And I don't think that's true from looking at the chronology here. They took their complaint to the Office of Minority and Women Inclusion. They have complained, members have complained to the U.S. District Court in the District of Columbia. Deloitte Consulting has had focus groups and analyzed the practices of this agency. As noted, the CFPB union has noted challenges and complaints have been made to that union. The Federal Reserve's IG has been involved and looked into the matters and allegations made by these witnesses and others. It is because nothing has happened that these two people are before our House Financial Services Committee, and I find that a sad day. I agree with members on both sides of the aisle who said it's been a long time and nothing has happened. But you know, the duty for something to happen does not rest in this committee. It rests with the management of the CFPB. And I'd like to ask a few questions about that. Who is in charge of personnel at the CFPB? Who is the chief HR officer for the Consumer Financial Protection Board?
The chief human capital officer is now Jeffrey Sundberg.
And how long has he been there?
I believe it's been less than 6 months.
And does the EEOC officer, Equal Opportunity Officer, report to that person?
No, the EEO director most recently had reported to the chief operating officer. So that was the same alignment with the Office of Human Capital, but last fall that reporting structure changed, and she now reports to Mr. Ishimaru, who is the director of the Office of Minority and Women Inclusion.
All right. And to whom does that office report?
To the director.
And is that, in your view, Mrs. Williams, a standard best practice inside an executive branch agency now? I mean, has the Bureau now adopted what you think is a standard best practice?
Well, it's not my view, but the EEOC's management directive specifically talks about it in its very first chapter about the organizational reporting structure, and that the assistant director of the Office of Civil Rights is to be a direct report to Mr. Cordray, so that there is no perception or no perception of a lack of neutrality, or no perception of her not having his ear to report to him whatever matters she considers are worthy of his attention. So even though there was a restructuring last fall, it still is not a restructuring in alignment with what the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission recommends.
And is Stacy Balch still the leader of this effort?
Yes.
And do you think she's been effective under this realignment as the director of the Office of Civil Rights?
No.
Can you tell me the top 2 or 3 reasons why you don't think she's effective?
The top 2 or 3 reasons. One, as I mentioned, that prior to being appointed to this position, she served as an agency attorney representing the agency against employees who had filed EEO complaints and grievances. So whether real or perceived, to place a person like that as the face of EEO after the agency had not even had an EEO office for 2 years is a misstep that should not have happened. 2, Ms. Balch does not possess the requisite qualifications for the position, nor is she fit based on her behavior that she's demonstrated for the position.
Thank you, Mrs. Williams. I would conclude simply by saying, Mr. Chairman, that there's a Fair Housing Act, there's a Home Mortgage Disclosure Act, there are fair labor standards in this country. There is an EEOC office in every major city in this United States, and if private sector players are not performing their responsibilities to fair hiring and labor practices, they should be investigated by those agencies and by the Department of Justice. Thank you.
The gentleman's time